Good evening. I'd like to call this Board of Health meeting to order at 6:00 p.m. It's October 15th. This agenda is subject to change and includes those items reasonably anticipated by the chair to be discussed at the meeting. Not all agenda items may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion for the extent permitted by law. We don't have anybody in the audience, so nobody's recording the meeting. We'll move right past citizens' participation. Do you want to talk about the letter, Mark?
Well, more or less, the Board of Selectmen member gave us a letter to consider, and she was hoping that the chairs, Brandy Kinsman's the select person, and she's hoping that the two chairs will agree to the letter you have in front of you, and obviously Diane's bringing it to the board for your review and decision, and if the board so wishes, she'll sign off on the behalf of the entire board. I think it's appropriate. I've read it, and it's shocking to see the data about how school children are increasing the practice of vaping.
That's good. To me. So we need to take a vote on authorizing you to
Well,
sign that?
My understanding, and I apologize, I wasn't at the last couple of meetings, but I understand the board did take a vote on this. I know
Yep.
Judy had some concerns.
Yep.
Do you feel more comfortable with this letter now, or would you like to, do you want to bring it up for reconsideration for a vote, or you want to just, I wasn't here, I mean, I'm okay signing on behalf of the board,
Right.
you know, collectively.
So, yeah, well, I haven't changed my vote, but, you know, I was just wondering, because you weren't here, do we want to send it as just the Ashland Board of Health, or do we want to have the chair sign it?
The chair signs on behalf of the board. That's right.
But she doesn't have, the first one didn't have that.
Correct.
But the signature work on the paper, the government officials would.
So
have
again,
more
my,
value than just a plain name as a board.
my understanding of this position, and Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah,
it's new to me,
listen.
but even if I did not, I mean, if I abstained from voting or voted against this letter, I would still sign it on behalf of the board if it was a unanimous vote. So
Okay.
it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have, I mean, if you
Yeah.
don't want to reconsider, that's fine, we don't need to discuss. I mean, it's already been voted on in the past, so I could sign this on behalf of the board
Okay,
because of a previous vote.
okay.
It was more just to make sure everybody was okay with, you know,
What was said in it?
well, right, because I believe you had a draft at the last meeting, but I,
I'm looking at the minutes right now.
yeah, and I don't think there was.
I don't think we had a draft at the last meeting.
Oh,
We
okay, maybe it was just a
asked
discussion,
for-
okay.
Right, we
Well,
asked
we
for
said
somebody to
that we
come up
would
with a
work
draft.
the
Okay,
Board of
yep.
Selectmen to sign the letter, that's what we,
Okay,
just what
all
we
right, good,
decided on.
all right.
And if the letter is here, if that the
Yep.
content is fine, and then we agree on the content, and then we should
Yep.
authorize one of us to sign it, and that you being the chair
Yep.
could go ahead and sign it. I don't see a reason unless we have an issue with it.
Alternately, Judy, if there's additional wording that you think might
Right.
make you feel better about it, you can propose that, and we can bring that to the
Board of Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen.
Correct, if, I mean, if you have any changes,
Yeah.
No,
if you would prefer just to stay with the original vote, that's
Right.
perfectly fine as well. We,
I mean,
you know,
if we agree on the content and the tone of this letter, then we need to affix a signature, and then that represents our board. That's what it is you're doing, not as an individual.
right, is that the vote you took last meeting?
Last meeting, we
Just
all
was to
that said
draft the
we'll
letter.
work with them, that's what
Okay,
we said.
okay.
And I'd like to join you.
So because you weren't here, I feel more comfortable if we want to say, bring it back up for reconsideration.
Yeah, I'm comfortable,
Okay,
I want
again,
you to
just,
be
let me just
comfortable.
take a vote.
Yeah.
and
I
bring it
want
up for
everybody to be
Yep, that's all.
comfortable.
Yeah.
So somebody would just have to make a motion to bring it up for reconsideration, and then we can,
You
Do
can
the
vote
same
yea or
pro-
nay.
yep.
Yeah, after
Okay.
discussion.
Mhm.
It's your
So if you want to
choice.
make a
I
motion,
make a motion to bring it up for reconsideration.
I'll second that motion.
all those in favor?
Oh, well, you want some discussion or not?
Oh, we're doing this stuff,
Oh,
now do
oh,
we have to
oh.
bring it up, we have to vote to reconsider it?
Oh,
and
that's
then
all
bring
you're
it up?
doing, that's
Okay,
correct,
okay.
it's like suspending a rule,
Yep,
that's
yep,
correct.
sorry.
Yep. Sorry, now
No,
I'm
I wanna make
screwing
sure.
up.
So, I mean, I feel comfortable with the way that this was put together. Randy did the draft. I mean, again, I would sign it on behalf of the board. I would vote to support it. I thought originally it was gonna be a little bit different, so I'm happy with the way that the draft turned out.
Okay.
I'm assuming that other communities are doing the same thing, maybe?
Okay.
Any other comments about it?
None.
Okay. Judy, do you have any changes?
No, I
Okay,
don't.
okay.
Yeah,
You don't, yeah, that's fine.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm good.
okay.
Okay.
So, somebody wanna make
So
a,
can we go ahead and vote on this and approve this letter, and then,
Oh, yes, you can
Okay.
bring up the vote, yeah.
okay, I propose that we authorize the chair of the board to sign on behalf of the board and submit it to the Board of Selectmen to forward it to Governor Charlie Baker.
I second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm abstaining.
Okay. Got that, Lynn? Okay, so vote on amended regulations for the restricting the sale of tobacco and nicotine products and deliverables effective January 1st, 2020. So, no, and again, meeting might move along really quick. We can take a vote on this. I mean, normally we wait till we have a full board. The next meeting is 19th of November.
I thought we hadn't we taken a vote on this?
So after the public forum
Uh-huh,
is when we officially vote on accepting the changes, accepting the amendments.
okay.
The vote that we did initially was a draft version of it,
Yeah, we voted
To
to
move it
approve the
forward.
draft.
Okay.
and then we released it to the public and wanted to get comments from the public and add, subtract, whatever it is.
Okay,
Nobody showed up,
right.
and then we
Oh,
thought
we
we
had
will,
2 people come.
Yeah.
And if there was
I know.
any changes or things like that, that we would have
Right.
discussed them.
So there weren't any changes?
Right.
no, none.
Right.
So we
Okay.
wanted to take a vote last week, and one of us was
I know.
not there.
Oh.
This time, a fellow,
So,
Okay.
right, we
Not
can make a
presented.
choice, right, and I'm not gonna speak on whether or not Ron approves of it or not. We can't, there are enough people here to make a decision on approving it, and then Ron can choose to sign it later, which I know that he would.
Okay,
it does-
Or we
yeah.
can wait and
I
then
think,
be a
you know,
full
this is
board.
anyway going to be effective January
Right.
20th, so we can still,
So, right,
wait for
we certainly have the time
Okay,
to
so we
wait
wanna
until
wait till the 19th to
I
to
think
approve them and sign
so
them?
that we can all
Okay.
just be together.
Okay. Sounds good.
okay. I thought we had already,
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought so too.
yeah, they work for me.
All right, vote on minor revision to fee schedule.
so that needs to go on the agenda on the subsequent meeting.
Correct, yep.
Somebody needs to make a note
Will
of it.
keep us organized. All
Pass
right.
that back down to Laura.
Of course.
And that's a wonderful number, 19/11/19.
There you go.
11, if you use the date, month, and the year.
Ah, okay.
Hey, Laura, you said
Symmetry.
the changes here are just the,
There's the
The,
old, and then there's
Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
new.
okay.
Changes are.
My brother didn't very know.
Some of it's just defining what we asked for in a better way, and some of it's just updating some
Yep.
confusion with our front page, where we start at the base of 99 seats and move forward, and we hadn't made that clear prior.
So it's
so-
more housekeeping versus.
But mostly housekeeping, there's not really anything too critical here. We did bring our trench permit fee. We always try to increase our fees by a percentage, but the DPW has their trench permit at 25. We were charging 27. We went back to the 25.
And
So-
are we renewing the well every year or what?
Well permits,
It says renewal.
yeah, renewal, replacement, it's a replacement. And then, say if you were building a house and you submitted for both a well and a septic, or even just a well, and somehow, and they expire in 2 years, you didn't build the house quick enough, you can renew it in 2 years.
So this is not
The
an
permit's only
this is
good-
not an annual renewal that everybody
No,
who
no,
has to go through.
it's
okay.
for a private well that's good. The permit, when it gets released, is good for 2 years, so if you wanna renew it for another 2, that's what that fee represents.
So that means if they didn't finish the job, then they,
That's correct.
so
yeah.
maybe
Or
you
they
need to
never s-
qualify it in the parenthesis somewhere rather than saying renewal, so it appears as if you're renewing every year or 2. So
That's what that is.
We
it's
need to
renewal.
qualify it with an asterisk and put a footnote somewhere.
The equine and animal permit, so is this per chicken, or per goat, or per horse,
Per property.
per property?
Yes.
Okay.
There may be a limit on the number.
But you were just took the words out of my mouth.
Sorry.
Okay,
There is a limit on how many chickens and goats you can have.
I just wanted to
per
make sure that wasn't per chicken, okay?
No. Your eggs would be very expensive.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the zoning bylaw restricts.
How many
the
chickens are allowed?
Depends on the acreage.
Oh,
10
okay.
for an acre.
Cool.
Diane knows it by heart too, because she had to tell many people at one time. to get
And
this.
one
10
equine,
chickens.
right.
And no roosters.
No
They're
roosters,
not allowed
yeah.
in
Oh,
town.
really?
No roosters.
Nobody wants to be woken up in the morning.
That's about it.
I kinda like them.
But they can have the train blowing and going through in the night.
That's another agenda item, I'm just kidding.
I know,
Kind of discrimination
ironic.
against those roosters, isn't it?
that's right, but roosters cannot go to the court.
I move that we approve the changes to the fee schedule as illustrated here.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Or do you have a copy that we can sign, or?
Yeah, and you did approve that as a regulation, so you approved it in accordance with chapter 111, section 31 of the Mass General Laws. So it's approved as actually a regulation, so that's
So
how
now it has to go to town meeting for the,
No, it's,
Okay,
you can
good.
approve regulations, just like you did with the tobacco on your own without going to town meeting.
When does this take effect, Mark?
This is it, right here.
No,
effective immediately,
Was that the
correct?
final? What, I'm
It's
sorry.
effective now.
As of now, as of your vote.
Okay,
Somebody walks in now, they have to pay the
I'm
new.
sorry, I didn't know you gave me that one, I'm sorry.
snooze, you lose.
That's
Most people don't argue our
Somebody
fees.
was waiting there for a permit, no.
They didn't make it in time.
All right, Judy, you're up next.
I am?
Yeah, listed under you.
What have you listed under me?
Air quality report from the Warren School.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I had asked for an
I-
update.
I know, that's why I put it, we just put it under you.
This-
I did volunteer last meeting, I should say, to contact Jim Adams to get an update on the air quality, and he did email me back, and I will read his report and then enter this into the public record. Okay, so this is from Jim Adams, the superintendent of the Ashland Public Schools. I have asked Barbara Durand, our Assistant Superintendent of Operations, to provide me with an update, which you can read for this. By the way, this is dated Friday, October 11th at 1:34 p.m. In addition, we will be having more testing performed at Warren in the next few weeks, and the Teachers Union is also having follow-up testing. Once we get this information, I will pass it along. Update as of 10/3/19. Testing during the week of 8/26/19. A high level of, and I may mispronounce some of these words, aspergillus was detected in room 13 by the whiteboard and room 11 near the sink and window. Cleaning is recommended. The follow-up, Ashland Public School custodial staff cleaned areas identified in rooms 13 and 11. Testing on 8/27/19 by the Ashland Fire Department. Carbon monoxide and oxygen levels in all rooms tested were normal, no required follow-up. Testing the week of 9/3/19 for CO2 levels. High CO2 levels were found in rooms 9, 15, 20, and 28. They exceeded the recommended level of 800. Follow-up. Air intake flow found to be 10% due to Amoresco Energy Plan. We adjusted to 20% based on past practice. A recent review of original engineering plans indicate flow S/B, I don't know what that stands for, at 30% to 40%. Maintenance staff has adjusted several classroom air intake flow valves to 30%. We are in the process of rescheduling testing to determine the impact of adjustment to 30%. Teachers and staff must keep all vents clear of clutter and debris. Room doors and windows should be closed at all times. Jim?
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Any questions, comments?
Mhm.
Thank you for following up on that.
My pleasure.
Trick or treating?
So I had thrown it out there at our last meeting that I hoped, we didn't have to even talk about trick or treat being canceled because it's such a happy day for kids that they look forward to every year, myself included. So I just wanted it on the agenda to see, like, I saw that there's ads for the parade and things, and are we assuming we're gonna have some hard frost and that's not gonna ruin our trick or treat, Mark?
I cannot predict the weather.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping for a hard frost, but it can't be guaranteed. Basically, I don't even think a weatherman can predict that,
I
prior to
saw
trick
in
or
Worcester
treat.
that they made it on the Saturday before Halloween,
So,
permanently, like.
that's
it's a-
interesting.
It's the Saturday closest to
last
Halloween.
Saturday,
Well, I know
yeah.
that the parade, I saw a post on Facebook about it, because the parade said if we still have a triple E threat, I think
Mhm.
is how they phrased it, basically report inside the school versus at Montenegro Square.
Oh, okay.
So it appears to me that Ashland Day has a plan B, if you will. I'm not too
Okay.
sure if we'll still do a parade outside, I'm not too sure. So, I know that that's the parade.
Yeah.
plan B.
We have, as I gather what's within our jurisdiction, we've already made the decision a couple of meetings ago to limit our food vendors so that they can't serve food outside during the alert after dusk. Beyond that, we can make recommendations. We can send out a referral, but I believe it's only Michael, the town manager, that can make an official decision.
Hmm.
I believe
on-
it's the police chief.
Yeah,
Is it the
we
police chief? Okay.
we
Yeah.
spoke, Diane and I had a chance to listen to Lisa Mead, our attorney, town attorney, and she did indicate the police chief has the final
It's the police
authority.
chief,
So I
okay.
gave him a call, because we found this out today, and I gave him a call today, and he said, if that's the case, he would honor whatever the wish of the Board of Health is.
Okay.
So he's been very
Yeah.
complimentary to
Okay.
it.
This is also for any event that's held on public lands,
Well,
or town-owned lands, or the private events too.
I don't think we can control anything on private land,
Yeah.
unless they're a food vendor,
Mhm.
and they have a
Right.
permit with us,
Right, right.
as Chris was just noting. So, Framingham's debating it. I think one town so far has gone forward with considering daytime trick-or-treat. I know in Marlboro, they have a parade, a Horribles parade, and in past years, it was more the safety issue, so police chiefs were getting involved with the safety of the trick-or-treaters. The only thing I've heard from a weatherman was that if we get a warm week, the mosquito population will increase to some degree, so that's why we, in some degree, if we don't get that hard frost, and then it warms up for a week, we could have some mosquitoes available around at Halloween, so, it's always the common sense prevails. If it's a warm night and there's mosquitoes, try to avoid going out that night and maybe doing daytime activities. The other note would be long sleeves, using your mosquito repellents, and that would be the common sense practice. Excuse me.
Is a Thursday. So, I mean, it's kind of a tough call. I mean, if I were making my personal recommendation, I would say, I always kind of oppose the idea of canceling Halloween. I think Halloween is October 31st, and I think that's when Halloween should be. But I am also concerned about safety. So I think that maybe as a board, the statement we can make and we can put out there through the news outlets, through whatever outlets we have for communicating with the town, is that Halloween, as of right now is, if we're still under critical alert, that, you should take precautions. Here are the precautions you should take. You should, stay in after dusk. If you're out, even before dusk, use, DEET or whatever. Make a little flyer,
Extra blimp.
a little flyer
Yeah.
and say, these are the precautions you should take. I
Don't-
don't know
don't
that if I
carry it
would
away
support the
without it,
idea of banning Halloween or, to change it to the weekend. The reality is, people go away, so people are gonna stay home so that trick-or-treaters can come to the house. I don't know, it's a hard call.
No, I'm not, I don't think we should
It's-
even touch that. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
a year-long thing.
Yeah,
to-
it's a difficult,
Yeah,
it's a
but
difficult problem.
I
It is.
just wanna make sure, like, if people are looking towards us,
Yeah.
like, I wanna make sure, like,
You're right,
we have something to fall back on, because I don't want the, I know
yeah,
Tripoli is a very serious thing, but
it sure is.
I think Halloween is something a lot of kids look forward to, and I don't want
Yeah.
anything to happen to destroy that.
It's the
When
worst.
I would assume whether somebody's going for, after, so to speak, an afternoon walk late, and people are taking precautions now, so it would be
Yeah.
just another normal day, hopefully.
Yeah.
But are we talking, I don't know what time trick-or-treaters are, so what time is dusk?
I think people usually,
Put an extra emphasis on them to be more cautious, and in the heat of the activity, don't forget that this exists behind, so that you
Right.
need to worry about this
Sounds
triply mosquito and then take more precaution than what you would now.
what I'd hate for everybody to wait till like the night before and try to find bug spray, because it keeps selling out,
Yeah, yeah.
Tell them
So-
now. Give them-
you know?
Would it make sense to do, mark a reverse 911 call for something like that?
We could. I can say I just looked it up. Methuen, I knew it was a town with an M. Their mayor decided to go from 4:30 to 6. I know our schools get out a little later, but I believe all our schools are out by 4:30, so, but general precautions,
I was
is
gonna
what
say,
we could recommend on that.
I don't think I feel comfortable with a reverse 911.
Okay.
Again, we could talk about it, but I just think it's a little much.
Okay.
I think because, the staff is doing the situation awareness every week, we're
Okay.
educating people, the information's out there.
Right.
And I'm sure that the news outlets would be
Sure.
promoting the
Yeah,
same
I
thing,
agree.
being precautious. And I think that there's I know there's a severe, I'm trying to think of the word, but I think if there's a need to change, I'm assuming, management and other communities will try to do the same thing. Like, I just,
And then we could do a reverse 911, if something,
If it's
Yeah.
critical.
if they
yeah.
change the
if it's-
hours or something
if
is.
it's 80 degrees for the next 3 weeks, then,
Right, and we have to see, if we collectively need to take action, I think we would get back together.
What I
and
do
make-
think, to your point of people looking to us, it would make sense for us to make a statement, a public statement, however we make it, whether, even if it's just right here tonight, and we vote on this as a statement by the Board of Health, that we're currently still in critical alert for Tripoli, and if we are still under critical alert on Halloween, our recommendation is that you complete your trick-or-treating before dusk,
At 6.
which is 6 o'clock on
Yeah.
that particular night, roughly. And if you're gonna be out, use bug spray and take the proper precautions that you would. And then we make a statement as a board that that's our
I think that's
recommendation.
sufficient.
Yeah. Sound
I like
good?
it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Did you get that, Laura? Do you want him to?
No, I
Okay.
got that.
So do you want a second, just to put out the statement?
Okay, I second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Good. I think that,
At least we've,
yep,
Yeah, it's a good thought.
and I think that if it gets closer and, the powers that be think things need to change, I'm sure they'll address it with a reverse 911. All right, good idea. All right, data from Sargent Burman.
Dana? Yep, okay, so.
What's that? Wait. So we have information here, which is statistics for 2006, 7, 8. Okay, so 6, 7, and 8.
So if I'm reading this correctly, in the last 3 years in Ashland, we've had 9 deaths from overdoses.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but
Yeah,
I,
no.
No.
In 2016, 5.
Yep.
In 2017, 2. in 2018, there were 2 as well.
I was gonna say, because people at home aren't seeing it, I was just gonna say, do you want me to just read this quickly, just so people will know? The statistics we're reviewing are, in 2016, the Ashland Police Department responded to 18 overdoses. Of those, 14 received Narcan. There were 5 deaths. That's alarming. In 2017, the Ashland Police Department responded to 14 overdoses, and of those 14 received Narcan. There were 2 deaths. In 2018, as of October 2nd, 2018, the Ashland Police Department responded to 2 overdoses. Of those, 2 received Narcan. There was 1 death. Since October 18, and as of October 19th, the Ashland Police Department responded to 10 overdoses. Of those, 7 received Narcan. There were 1 death. But that 1 death is in the same,
I think it's
No,
that's
it's,
another
jumped
period.
up to
Yeah.
next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
right. So that's, okay.
And that could go up, because that's just the starting period of October 2nd, but, well, no, that's actually the year between October 3rd, 18 to October 2nd, 19.
so Mark, you were looking into, I think this is part of the discussion that we were having about seeing if we could get a grant for Narcan to give to the police department again and to hand out to families that requested it.
Well, the police department now budgets for Narcan,
Okay.
so this would be more for the public.
Okay,
And the grant is available, and the person that runs the grant for us runs it for 4 communities, Framingham, Natick, Hudson, and Ashland.
okay,
And so we have the written orders signed by our doctor, but we just need him to bring in the original form. He's a previous board member who's helping us out. So
okay,
he signed those standing orders. We just have to make sure, once that comes in, I'll go over it with our assistant town manager. If she's satisfied with it, it will go through the process.
okay.
They know we're interested.
And so, when we get those, who distributes it?
That will be the trainer. And right now, our public health nurse is a trainer.
Okay,
Ed Burman's a trainer.
all right.
And others can be trained.
So families can request
Yep,
to come
they-
in and get trained and to
Yeah,
get a
well,
supply?
exactly. The trainer will train the families, and they
Okay.
get the Narcan that way.
Is it 100 doses again, or is it?
It won't be that much
Okay,
this time.
but it's
It'll be
okay.
whatever, it might be whatever we distributed before within town versus, so
So how
I
many,
can't guarantee how much it will be. They're in the process right now of trying to divide it up equally and fairly.
so how many you're getting for us?
I don't know yet. We gotta get those written orders in first.
How many do we need though?
Well, if Ed gets out there, and Ed did a great job with our, Mass Bay actually, and he, went out to a couple other public facilities, I'd say, and we gave, I think, about 40 to Framingham and Natick, so I'd say 50 would be the most, depending on the expiration date. It'd be nice, I'm hoping the expiration date will go out to 3 years. The other time it went out to 2 years. That way we have more time to distribute.
So if we add the number of overdoses since 2016 that we know of, 18, 14, 2, and 10. Is there a math person?
They may not be individuals, it may be the same people.
Well, each time they would need,
44.
yeah, so 44. So we can document a need for 44.
Well, those,
Or
that
those we
Narcan is
used-
administered from either police or fire,
Okay.
not our doses. so-
Okay,
That's
Yeah,
correct.
you know,
But-
I'm
Sure.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't, I don't know any more than I'm reading on a piece of paper, but, I mean, I or we don't know is
so we
did
can't
somebody that
collect the
drive over
data
the
on the
line.
ones that we give away.
The other question I have is the number, when they say 14 received Narcan, it's 14 people received or 14 Narcans were distributed?
No, this is some people
Yeah.
received it.
What is it?
14 people received.
So they could have gotten twice or thrice the same thing.
Yeah.
It's possible, yeah. Could have had
Absolutely.
more
So
windows.
that way you can't count the number as 44.
Judy, were you trying to back out what we had? Is that what you, because,
Oh, but you were correct in saying that those were from the police department. Those weren't from the ones that the
Right.
Ashland Board of Health gave
That
out.
is
So we have no way of tracking.
If they got used or
Right.
not.
Hopefully they're
Yeah.
saving somebody.
One of the issues that came
absolutely.
up,
Right, because if somebody uses it, we don't, If
Right.
they don't come back for a refill, we don't
Right.
know, will we even know if they were the original or not? you know?
All that we know is how many we gave
We
out.
gave up.
One of the issues that came up last time is that we ended up giving some of ours to Framingham and to Natick. And I think that, Mark, correct me, keep me honest here. I think really it was a case of, Framingham in particular is a significantly larger town. So if we're talking about having a reserve that we can give to people, if it's completely out of our control and the money pool isn't coming from something that we're paying for, from a public pool supporting X number of communities, probably the most fair way to distribute it is proportional to population. So if you take the 4 communities, look at the total population, what percentage of that are ours, that's what percentage of the Narcan pool we should take. That seems to me make the most sense, and as long as we're working in cooperation with each other, as the time progresses, if all of a sudden the problem is greater, concentrated in one of those communities, and they find a greater need, then we would pitch
Right.
in as
And
cooperatives.
that's where this data will be helpful. They
right.
may ask for this data.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Thank you to Ed Burman for pulling that
Yes, thank you,
together.
Ed.
And training families.
And to Dr. John Reed, who's the person helping us with the forms. So,
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Johns.
yeah, if anyone's looking for Narcan, please call us. You know, if there's a
So
public-
what phone number, if somebody's listening?
Sure, it's 508-881-0100, extension 7128, and that's Laura's Exchange, and
Great.
she'll get the message. Excuse me.
All right, so Mark and I went, this is for the regionalization for the nursing services with the city of Framingham. Mark and I attended a meeting a week or so ago with Holliston and Hudson, and of course, of course, Framingham. And had a roundtable discussion about what our needs are, we, of course, want to change, what our budget is. And there was a gentleman there that was facilitating the meeting that's putting together all of the information,
Okay.
and then we're gonna get back together and meet. Clearly, we have a very good working relationship with Framingham already. I think we'll stick to that and move forward with, our regionalization. Holliston and Hudson didn't necessarily seem that they wanted to really bite the apple, if that's.
Yeah,
Hudson, I mean, she had a good point, she's like, it's kind of far for her, it's about a 45-minute ride for anybody. Marlboro is not going to participate in the program, so she was thinking maybe she would try to do something with Marlboro to kind of tighten that gap with
Okay.
what she's lacking there. Holliston did,
they seem to wanna go with it.
yeah, they seemed to
Yeah.
want it to go with it, but they, same thing, it was just uncertainties about how it was gonna work. So, Steve, is it from MAPC? Midwest
Let's see, what was
Area
his
Planning
name?
Committee, I forget the name of his.
Yep.
But he was facilitating the meeting, he's gonna put together basically a proposal.
Barry Kephard.
Yeah, and, so, he, it was very to the point, 1-hour meeting, very to the
Yeah.
point, took the information and he'll get back, yes, he was very good and,
Great.
yeah, so it was a good meeting, as we all know that they're handling our residents right now. Separate from the nursing, that we're looking to do, they said that they had about a couple dozen families come forward for, before, I'll say, called preschool, before entering into school, for
From Ashland?
vaccination, from Ashland, for
Right.
vaccinations. She said that, because we were talking about what services we would need again in the future, because they do have people that speak in different languages in Framingham. She said that the clients were all Portuguese, so, of course, taking that into consideration, we made sure that we had somebody there that could handle the influx of people, and
Okay.
they can.
All right.
And, I think
I
that
think
pretty
you had the
much
high
concludes it.
notes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that concludes that part of it, and, of course, we're having the clinic on the 26th of October. And if anybody else wants to go to help volunteer, do you have information here, Mark?
Yeah, it should be in your
What
packet.
about Hopkinton and Sherburne?
They declined,
They declined.
I'm sorry.
Hopkinton, unfortunately, they declined because they were able to get a full-time nurse
Ah.
through
Yeah,
town
those,
meeting.
yeah.
This vaccination is happening where in Framingham?
Yes, at the, sorry, I'm just looking for the flyer.
I
It's
can
in-
look it up too.
It's at McCarthy School, 8 Flag Drive on October 26th, anybody who's watching. It's for Ashland and Framingham families, free flu clinic. Again, October 26th from 10 to 2 at McCarthy School, 8 Flag Drive in Framingham. If you have health insurance, please bring your health insurance information. If you do not have health insurance, you can still attend the clinic. They have high-dose, regular, infant, and preservative-free vaccine available. So I am planning on attending. If anybody else wants to go, just to make an appearance or stay for the day,
Okay.
that'll be good.
Excuse me.
That's the day on which the wellness program also happens in Keefe Tech, isn't it?
I don't know.
For seniors.
I thought that just happened.
Oh, with Karen Spilka?
Yeah, I think that also happens in a
I
weekend.
think that already
Unless it's-
happened.
I think it happened last week,
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Well,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Too
I
late.
thought I saw
Yeah,
something in the
yeah,
paper.
'cause I think it was
Too
the
late.
12th.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyhow,
How
the
did you,
information is in your flyer if you,
I wanted
wanna
to
attend. Any questions about that? I know it's kind of just a overview, and I'd like to keep it on the agenda, just
Sure.
keep updating. All right, Mark, you're up.
Okay, we'll start with the budget first for this year. And we, by the way, for FY 2021, we have not received any package yet. Once I do, I'll get it to the board. That's probably the next meeting. I expect that we'll be getting packets from the financial team, and I'll get that information to the board. For this year's budget, we're still in very good shape. As you can see, we're around 29, if you look at permanent positions, we're around 29.7% at this point of this budget report, and we're at 26.5. There'll be further, we just got a bill for the landfill, so they'll start getting used now to contracted services as it relates to routine landfill testing. And the other lines are in good order. There's dues and memberships, we paid for the Board of Health memberships for the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards. And again, if you're interested in the conference coming up, I think in less than 3 weeks now, in a couple weeks, just either sign up for it and send us the bill, or, we'll go from there. Excuse me. You can
That's
see
the
from-
MAHB?
Yeah, sorry. And then for the revolving funds, those have been updated to show the pending balances in them. Bottom, second two at the bottom.
Mark, on longevity and fringes, is that an anomaly, 171.4%?
I can get back to that, Chris. Yes.
Well, Laura just got hers, because she hit
Yeah.
a 5-year, right?
Yeah. Longevity and fringes,
Yeah, it's a negative, it's
Yeah.
probably Laura's.
so I think that's why that's there.
Yeah. It's contractual, so they'll move it over.
The question was on longevity and fringes. Just that there's still that pending, that amount. You should know that.
I was gonna say, I don't see it here, I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, oh,
guess
sure.
we could talk about it, but,
Which one?
just an update on the tobacco control
Sure.
agent.
Yeah,
I just saw the
so
budget, so,
we have in that line item 16,123.
yeah.
And the interviews occurred this week.
Oh, good.
And
Oh,
we
awesome.
should, we have one person that said they couldn't interview till next Wednesday, so we're gonna
Okay.
interview that person. One person that interviewed already declined to continue. Another person came in today that's interested, so I referred him to HR, so
Okay, good.
we'll see where it goes from there. And, the other part of it is the food inspections. I think next year, though, when it comes time for town meeting, annual town meeting, we'll probably ask that they increase the limit for tobacco control from the 5,000 to 10, if it's not already, actually from 10 to 15, I think, 'cause
No,
it-
it's just, it's
Is it?
30.
yeah, 30 for the food.
No, I think it's 30 for both. I think the
Oh, did
max
it
is
get-
30 for all
okay.
revolver.
I'll check then.
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't, but, I was looking at some old document today, I had it at 5 and 10.
Yeah,
I'm
it could,
like,
man,
oh.
very well. Could be well.
Yeah, it was an older document, so if it is still there,
Yeah, and
I'll
I
ask the board
think
to
you and I
increase it.
have spoken, but I talked to Tom, the food inspector, and he is willing to do more hours, so as we, feel the need, he's willing to do more work if we just let him know what exactly we're looking for, if we have, goals, that we want him to meet, so, I mean, we can talk about it now, or we could, if we have anything you know, I mean, I think we
He is
should talk
gonna
about-
go on that priority inspection. We spoke last Wednesday, and I told him, make sure you get to your supermarkets, your nursing homes, rest homes, and to your large restaurants 3 times a year. So he's gonna start, that's gonna keep him very busy, push
Good.
that envelope.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's willing to do it, so, you know, Mark is already on it, so.
Yeah,
No, it's good.
It was requested. It's a good,
Yeah.
it's good to prioritize,
Yeah.
and he's really on top of the choke saver information.
Yes, he is.
I see that.
He is on top
I'm
of it.
happy.
Good.
That's good, right, absolutely.
He inspected the ice cream truck right before I got my ice cream on Saturday at the corner spot.
Good. So, Eastern equine encephalitis, some of it we already went over the outside events. There will not be any further aerial spraying. The temperature's too low now to aerial spray. They're not as active, but they are still active. I don't wanna underestimate that, but,
Okay.
and at the same time, we continue to put out, and Laura does the majority of the work, our situational awareness reports on a weekly basis. And those will keep going out until we have our first hard frost, and by definition, as Laura said, 4 hours at 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Because I was just reading, well, you were talking about Halloween, I drew up an article on it, and that is 28 degrees at 4 hours, so hopefully that will be here sooner than later. Flu clinics, we know about Saturday, October 26th, a week from this Saturday, 10 to 2 in Framingham, and then the town hall, Kitty Mahoney and our public health nurse are gonna work together. They're gonna meet downstairs for the town hall, for not just town hall, but for town employees. And, again, if you have insurance, they'll take the card, cause they can get reimbursed. And if you don't, you're still welcome to go. But I hope
We don't
most,
have a date yet, though, right?
that's October 30th,
Oh,
Wednesday, October 30th,
October 30th.
from, 1 to 3:30.
What was that, October 30th?
Town employees, if you want a flu shot, we'll have a town employee flu clinic downstairs in the basement. And we sent that out to everyone on email, and probably will send a reminder. I should make a note of that so I don't forget. We have an everyone email, so, that'll be another clinic that we're trying to work with Framingham, not trying, we are working with Framingham on this regional concept, so it'll be a team effort. And the cremation, well, if we're all set with that, cremation form's next. Lisa's staff, she has someone new there, I can't remember his name, but he, changed the form a little bit. I kept the red lines in there so you could see it. If someone dies in this town, and now that we have 2 nursing homes and a rest home, we may see more of it. So, and if that person does not have family that claims the remains, then it falls into our hands. And I've kept a couple calls going out to our burial agent, which is John Matarese. I'm waiting for a return call. But seeing if he's familiar with our cremation process, because we ran into this a couple months ago with a funeral director out of Worcester. And so I'm just waiting for him to return the call, but it'll either be him, Tara, or myself will be the burial agent, or maybe the 3 of us, so that if one's not available, we can bounce to the other one, or chair, whatever.
Now, does the board, I'm asking a question for myself, does the board still appoint the burial agents
Yeah,
annually, right?
yeah, I'm waiting for John. John's been doing it for years, and it's kind of been just a rollover, but we should do that.
Yeah,
agree
because
with you.
when I was in the position, we took a vote each year for the burial agents. We should appoint them each year.
Yeah, so, usually John doesn't mind, because he's handling the remains, but there may be a chance that the body, this is the problem, if the body leaves our town prior to this form being signed, then it's really up to the next town where the body is located. So we had that issue with Worcester. But if the remains are here and there's no next of kin that one, and you'll see our town attorney changed a few things, because it's a serious form. If we go to sign this form after 30 days and all of a sudden someone shows up and says, that doesn't meet our religious practices,
Well,
you know, it's serious.
I mean, obviously, a legal counsel wrote this, but, so either this line should be a signature or not, because where is the funeral director signing?
Well, right now it's the public health director.
Okay, you would change
Or as
this.
assigned,
Okay.
if
Because I'm
we
like,
can-
it's
if we
saying the
can.
unassigned,
But,
So
so,
what-
I would think it'd be
Do,
both.
do they,
it should be.
do they make an announcement in somewhere in papers?
What will happen is, you mean if we approve this?
No, no, not this, if a body
Yeah.
is found and then
Yeah,
it's
well,
subject to this paper, so
yeah,
how would a person who next of kin doesn't know that this person deceased would
yeah,
know?
we're hoping the nursing home had some paperwork on the person. That's what happened with the last person, they were from one of our nursing homes. And we're hoping there's some member out, within that group, the nursing home group or the rest home group that has some data.
Hmm.
Sometimes there are no family members, and this may not happen more than once every 2 years, but there is the chance that the person's the last of the family possibly, so.
I'll take KG's scenario one step further. What if a person is found dead on the street with no identification on them?
Well, it then starts with the,
Police matter.
yeah, and it goes to the deal.
Medical examiner?
The
Well,
medical
and-
examiner, the MA.
And I keep referring to, I know this is a form from legal counsel, but I also looked at, I mean, it's falling on the funeral director, but there's no spot here for like the nursing home or
Well,
to sign as well.
so I think it's supposed to where it says licensed funeral director, so it says, by completing this form, I certify under pains and penalties that, one, I'm a licensed funeral director, so he or she fills it out. And licensed funeral director, I think that's supposed to be signature, because under it, it says printed name. So,
Right, this is supposed to be where they sign.
right,
Because
their
then-
address and their phone and their state ID, and then it looks like the public health agent would sign.
Well, that's why I said I would think it would be both of the
Right.
funeral director.
So,
So this, maybe,
Oh, so,
Yeah.
signature of licensed, it
Just
probably
so you-
should say.
Well, the
Correct?
form came from Worcester,
she's saying is he or she would be
licensed funeral
licensed funeral
director.
director sign
Yeah,
and then print.
and print name. I think what happened, this form came out of Worcester. Worcester shared their form with us.
Right,
We sent it to our legal counsel, and they were okay with that. I mean, we could be a little further and
But
say
I think,
printed
I think
name.
this is just
just-
supposed to be licensed funeral director signature
Yeah,
and then print
we
their
would
name.
hope they would know that, but they may not,
Right.
so it may be best to put signature at the end of that
Yeah.
line.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, just so they know that's truly what we're looking for. Signature just below that first line.
Or
just so
licensed
they
funeral
know.
home funeral director signature.
Yeah, I mean, the top part of that form
Just move
does,
the
you know,
line down
where,
and put
indicates where they
printed names.
died.
Let's go
Question.
down a little bit.
Is there an issue of gender neutral on this, or should we have to be specific?
I didn't hear KG.
That needs to be addressed or not addressed?
Why, because it asks.
Male or female, so,
I would probably be more comfortable with it just having gender in a line.
right.
But the location of remains is very important,
Mhm.
so you know if they're still in your town.
Yeah. But see, that actually, it's interesting because that becomes a difficult thing when you think about this, right? Again, if it's an anonymous body, and I were to look at an anonymous body, the only way I can identify gender is by the body itself, which is different from what the individual as a living person may have chosen to identify as. And yeah, I don't know if that situation has been encountered yet in this,
Well, I
You
would
still
say
do-
the funeral director probably has protocol they have to follow.
yeah.
You know, this is,
Yeah, which,
the
which,
funeral director
which
filling it out.
leads me further to, that it might be better for us to leave it on the form as gender.
Oh, we wouldn't fill that out.
And
We
a
only
blank.
sign this form.
Right, no,
We
no.
don't fill
But
it
I
out.
mean, just
even
instead of having
identifying
male
it.
and female as the option,
The state,
Have gender
Worcester got the
and a
form
blank.
from the state,
Yeah.
and
Aye,
we got
but
it from Worcester, so I think the state's requirement on
So this is the form
This is a state.
that Worcester got from the state.
Yep.
Worcester gave it to us, and our attorney made some corrections,
Made
and
the
our
red
attorney was
line.
okay with this,
Yep,
so I am.
yeah. I would suggest the same thing, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay.
Because then we're starting to change the state form, and then it's gonna be different here than other
Correct.
towns.
So, it just, I don't know, I'm having a hard time digesting this form. So I think the thing is what Mark was saying originally, so when we were saying licensed funeral director signature, the licensed funeral director has to sign the bottom of this, not Mark, because it says, I mean, if you read it, the undersigned hereby request and authorizes cremation. They're,
No,
That would be Mark?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm basing my signature
On
on.
what their
what-
information,
former
okay,
director.
okay, that's,
It's almost like,
Mark, or you said Tara, or,
if the board,
all right.
right now, we'll keep it as the health agent director, because that's how this form is set up.
Okay.
And then, if it becomes, I don't think it'll become overwhelming, because it's 30 days. It's not like a burial permit that they need right away,
Right.
and that's where we have Matt Reese usually do them, because he's got the deceased right
well,
there.
if you're, I would be comfortable having a backup, because if you're
Sure.
away,
Yep.
or you're out,
Yep.
it shouldn't have
Maybe
to
you
wait
just
another
generalize
week.
it to just the
Yep.
chair, because, I mean,
Oh,
whomever. I
Yeah,
mean, if
I'll
there's
see
a-
what they say and what they do in Worcester,
Okay.
Okay,
you know. But I think, because you have that 30-day layover, another day or two wouldn't matter, because we know about this ahead of time. You still have to wait 30 days before you can sign it, in case the next of kin come by.
Do you know whether Lisa paid attention to that gender thing, or should we ask her?
I think Worcester got it from the state, so.
I understand
yeah.
that, but Lisa
Lisa
has,
didn't put that in
Lisa has
there.
changed it from what Worcester or
We
the
can-
state
it's-
No,
gave
no,
it
it's
to.
male,
worth double
female was
checking.
there, but we can check.
Yeah, it's
we
worth
can
double
check.
checking, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
we can, I mean, we can,
Are we allowed to,
we can
Yeah.
approve.
allowed to leave it as gender blank as what?
Just gender and blank, and let them put in
If
male,
they-
female.
If they want to
or
put male, they can
whatever.
put male, female, whatever they want, they can put it on, instead of we dictating that these are the only possibilities.
I can question it.
Well, and we can, I mean, we could vote to approve the form.
I can do a little
Subject
I mean,
research.
they could still fill whatever they want, the male, female, or whatever they want, and we could just leave gender.
Where are you looking?
I'm assuming,
And that's what I'm
this,
saying.
the thing is there's a burial permit
It doesn't,
itself.
doesn't change from what this is if you just leave gender blank, as,
What Mark, I didn't know what Mark's referencing, this is, there's a form from the state, it's an actual burial permit
Yeah.
that Mark issues for body to, leave this town.
right.
It asks probably the same specific question, and that's probably why they're leaving it that
Mhm.
way.
Yeah.
Whether it's antiquated or not, I'm assuming that, I don't know. Well, I think I would
you're
feel
right.
comfortable with double checking it,
Yeah, I can check, I'm writing a note.
and then if it needs to be
Well,
changed.
the
Yeah.
other thing too is, I look at it and it implies to me gender, but it may not necessarily mean gender, it may simply mean genitalia. Like, a dead body has
Hard to
specific
say.
genitalia that's associated with a specific gender, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the gender of the person. But, see how it gets very complicated,
Very complicated.
but I think we have to do whatever the right thing
Yeah.
is, and again, I don't know what the right thing is. I personally would feel more comfortable if it just said gender and a blank line, but,
Okay, well, I
but-
don't see
but
why we
again,
couldn't do that.
I'll check
You know,
into it.
yeah.
We don't have Ron, this doesn't have, we don't
That's
have.
fine, we
yeah.
can move it.
Worcester
to
has the body that was of concern,
Yeah.
so they
Sure.
know they're responsible for that body, but we will get probably this happening someday, like I say, it may not happen for 2-5 years, but, so we get time, we can check into it.
There's a minor formatting error, the telephone needs to be centered on the top.
Oh, sure, I see
And,
what you're saying.
and again, I know it's minor as well, but we don't
We
need
have a new
101 Main
letterhead.
Street at the bottom, because we have it at the top. But I think it's just because we put it on our letterhead.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
A couple minor.
Your name is spelled all right?
thanks, Laura.
All right, so Mark, you'll get clarification on
Yep.
that, and we'll,
Take a look at
Something
the
else to
website.
consider,
Is it
just
Judith?
to Judy's point,
Is it?
the point that Judy made earlier,
Is it?
maybe that bottom signature line, instead of it reading Public Health Agent Director, signature of public official, and then another line saying title, so that if for some reason you don't sign it and it is Tara, she could put clerk.
Yeah.
Or,
that's a good point.
If Tara's watching this right now, I know she's not happy, because she goes, I don't wanna do that.
I'm sorry. Tara.
Sorry, Tara.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
No,
It comes with a position.
no, she preferred to stay the way the state wrote it, which means it's my responsibility. But we'll find out, I can look into that, we got time. I'd say we won't see another one for a long time, but you never know.
Can I, back up 1 second, now that we're finished with that, to the flu clinic?
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's
This-
okay.
trilingual flyer is really nice. I hope that we're putting it on the cable.
Yeah, we just-
Yeah, we dropped out.
Are you- Get to what
Well,
he's
it
doing.
looks like a
No.
race show right now.
So,
We're in a commercial.
but it is,
We can give it to him, I think he can scan it.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
give it to
Laura,
you.
I
We can,
think
well, we
already
can get it up
did
on.
that.
Yeah,
I'll give it to him,
It-
and come back.
okay, so you'll get it up on public cable. Great. All right.
That's a great job. Good thing.
All right, so is everybody else set with that?
Yes.
All right, Mark, next one, update on Mass Department of Public Health emergency temporary ban on vaping products and cessation program, nicotine reduction therapies, NRT products.
And so the ban is still in place, and and it will be lifted January 25th. That will be the 4-month time period unless challenged. It was being challenged, I believe, in a Worcester court, and they didn't file properly, the vape companies, so they gotta go back and refile. The one thing that it should be noted, it doesn't ban vaping, so people can vape, it's just for the sale of, not just, it is for the sale of vape products. At the same time, the state government's hoping that legislative action will, take place as it relates to a new state law that says we'll handle vape products. So there's legislation out there being reviewed at this time that would be a more permanent ban. So that's under review by the state legislators at this time.
So this standing order that's in front of me,
Yes.
it's actually something anybody can carry into a drugstore?
Well, that is actually, you don't even have to carry that in. That was sent to all the pharmaceutical companies and the CVS's and Rite Aids, and they know about it. It's just that, you can go in there, you can go to any general pharmacy and ask for, say, a product that can only be sold behind the pharmacy, like Shantex, I think is one. I'm not, don't quote me on the
So I was gonna
names.
say, if-
So,
I was gonna say, I'd like to read this out, the
Yeah,
second
sure.
part, actually.
yeah, because
think
I
it's
don't, I don't think anybody did a very good job statewide,
Mm.
letting people know that, you know, you can't all of a sudden vape now. A lot of people were using it for smoking cessation, if I'm correct.
Cessation, that is
And
correct.
so I did read something, and I didn't know that it was well publicized, that if you had Mass Health, you could go in and get free nicotine.
Correct.
Well, my understanding, we're
Reducing
reading this,
products.
it's the same concept, if you will.
Okay, but
so-
now this is for people that would have to pay for it at the pharmacy, or it's free to all now?
It depends on your medical insurance,
Mm-hmm,
but you are correct about Mass Health.
uh-huh,
If you have Mass Health, it is free. If you have another medical provider, then you may have to pay the copay. But then if you compare what's sold over the counter versus behind the pharmacy, with many medicines, you'll find that it's less expensive to buy behind the pharmacy than on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people find that with diabetic products. They'll go buy the strips and they're $100 behind the counter, which you can buy without a prescription. And people that have medical insurance might walk out of there paying $5. So
Right.
it's the whole same concept of how medical insurance works, and so that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah,
Go
from
ahead,
my
Donna, I'm sorry.
understanding also, I know there was another thing I think that was attached to this as well.
There
but-
was.
But it was basically
Yeah, I can
because,
get that if you need
to
it.
allow people,
Yeah.
because they're obviously, for the smoking cessation, to go into a pharmacy and get the $20 copay, pay a $20 copay and receive the cessation products.
okay,
So instead of having to go to your doctor, pay the $20 copay, get a prescription, go to the pharmacy, pay whatever the cost of the prescription is. What this does allow people over the age of 18, I was gonna say, if you don't mind me reading, it says,
right,
this standing order authorizes licensed pharmacists to dispense medical appropriate NRT
Nicotine replacement
Thank you.
therapies. Mhm.
products to a person 18 years or older with proper identification who requires the products in connection with smoking cessation or vaping cessation. The standing order applies to FDA-approved OTC NRT products, including gum, lozenges, and patches. Pharmacists are authorized to create a prescription with this standing order using a manufacturer's FDA-approved dosing instructions.
So they cut off the doctor.
Correct.
The physician is cut off from the
So,
line. right?
but now, as I read this, what Mark was talking about is slightly different, right? So there are several prescription-based medications. Chantix is one of them. That you need a doctor's prescription for. This has nothing to do with that.
Mm.
If you wanted to take Chantix or another pharmaceutical product that requires a prescription, you'd have to go to your doctor and get a prescription for it.
No, I
With this-
believe that's what we heard in the conference, is this will,
According to what this
This
says,
says
yeah.
this is saying things like lozenges and patches.
over-the-counter nicotine replacement therapy products.
Okay,
The one
'cause-
thing it does say, and I'm going backwards a little bit, but the pharmacy must take a reasonable effort to determine if the purchaser's insurance covers the select NRT
Okay.
products.
So does that mean if you don't have insurance or your insurance doesn't cover it, then they'll give it to you free?
No.
No, but you hope if you have
You
Mass
pay
Health,
for
they
it.
will.
Mass Health, but if not,
Nothing
you would have to
comes
go
free
get a
here.
co-payment.
No, Judy, that's not, it means if your insurance covers it, then they can dispense it. They can write you a prescription and dispense it.
That's not how I'm reading it. The pharmacy must make a reasonable effort to determine if the purchaser's insurance covers it.
This
So
is what
if it
nicotine-
doesn't, I'm thinking maybe the state does. That's how I read it.
I was under the understanding as well, that
Okay.
if you would
Yeah.
go and you would pay like a co-payment but not pay for the product. You know, you,
Yeah.
like you say your
We
co-payment is
might wanna
$25.
get clarification on
Yeah.
that, cause I can
Yeah.
see how it can be read both ways.
Right. I certainly would like to get the word out for
Yeah.
people that are having trouble.
Yep.
Well, and even with this information, I would like to get this out as well through
Right.
social media, because this is, I think it's very important.
This is-
for-
yeah,
if
this
people,
is-
parents, I mean, everybody of different age groups as well, if they're struggling, you know.
I know I read it somewhere, that's why Chantix, whatever it's called, Chantix,
Yeah.
came up in one of our meetings. and
Yeah,
I-
you don't want a pharmacist to say it's okay to take Chantix. There's
see.
significant side effects that could potentially
Oh,
happen.
okay,
And
okay.
it's based on, an individual's medical history, how it can affect you. And if you're on other medications, yeah, I would find it very hard to believe that a pharmacist would be authorized to dispense
Well, and
that.
I mean, if you want, Mark, if you don't
Yeah,
mind
I
just
can-
letting us know, maybe just in a simple email, just
Yeah.
letting us know, just to clarify,
bet.
and then
Yeah.
we can get the information out there, through social media as well, maybe like I said, even cable. They might have expanded the
Yeah.
conversation on it as well now, so,
Okay.
does that work for everybody? Just so you can get clarification.
For sure.
All right, Mark, new food establishments.
Very
I'm
exciting.
used to saying it, Dulce.
Yeah,
Dulce
I
de
was-
leche.
I was-
Everything, the money.
They are open and.
They're open.
Yeah, they're making
Grand opening on
product as we
Saturday.
speak.
Principally, nothing
Yeah.
comes free here.
And they spend quite a bit of time and effort on
And money.
that facility, which includes the money. It's quite a manufacturing facility. And gelato and other products. You're gonna see another breakfast/lunch type facility in town, where the old Papagino's is located on Union Street.
And that one is tomorrow's?
That's gonna be called Tomorrow's, yeah, with Morrow being M-A-U-R-O-S, but it's kinda cute how they call it Tomorrow's, cause they have another Morrow's in Southborough, so it really is the second one. But it would be one of those names that becomes pretty catchy. They're in the process right now of putting in the external grease trap. The actual owner of the building is doing that, and then the restaurant side of it's coming in through the owner of Tomorrow's. And they've submitted plans, which Tom and I are in the process of reviewing. And they're saying that if things move accordingly, they're looking at end of November, beginning of December. But I wish them the best, cause I know construction has its quirks, but I wish them the best, and
Yeah,
hopefully
look
they
what
can move
happened
that
with
fast.
Tasty Treat.
I
It
know,
took an extra
when was it
year.
ever gonna open, we all kept saying. And the last one is King BB's. When you're going down 126, you'll see a new sign at the XL gas station for King BB's. It's a flair of, what do you say, it's Brazilian, but another Turkey, the country of Turkey, like a Turkish/Brazilian type product, excuse me. pizza-type products. So they brought in samples for the town hall people to try, and I thought it was pretty good. So I wish them the best
And
as
are
well.
they open?
And they are open.
Okay. We didn't mention the Dulce de Leche. Did you mention the location? Homer, did you mention
Oh,
Homer
no,
Avenue?
they're on Homer Avenue.
200 Homer Avenue.
200, yeah. Not that I want to advertise with them, but why not?
Well, I mean,
said
we
where the
mentioned,
other
I
two
want to be
were.
fair for everybody.
I agree,
wanted
thank you.
everybody to be fair.
Because then they're gonna say, you
Yeah.
didn't say where we
Yeah.
were, which is across from the old Dairy Queen.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Now, I know I had heard that the Blockbuster, the old Blockbuster location was
They're
gonna be a
looking
restaurant too. Is
at,
that something that's,
it's a different type of name, but they are looking at it again, going through the process, to get, going. And they did come in to say hi to us, and they're waiting for other town approvals, and then
Okay,
once
so
they
we're-
get
we're not
those, they'll
quite there
come right
yet.
in to see us.
Okay.
Biz, or something like that, I can't remember their name, it's a different type of name.
Mhm.
So we'll be seeing,
Oh, that will be a
Possibly.
restaurant as well?
I think it's gonna be
That's what
more
they-
like, a pub style, but
Okay.
don't quote me on that, it could be more restaurant-based versus pub-based.
Okay.
So you'll have lots of places to eat at. So,
Any update on the Dunkin' Donuts beyond what Tom sent, or
I'm sorry.
any
Dunkin'
update
Donuts?
on the Dunkin' Donuts beyond what Tom sent?
He sent them just the regulations, so they would know how the regulations work, and I spoke to the, the general manager, and explained to him that Tom did everything right. It's unfortunate there was a breakdown in communication between his manager and himself. There was a concern that Tom wasn't sending reports to the Dunkin' Donuts management, and the manager on site said, send it to me, while his boss was mad that we weren't sending it to him. And I said, well, that's for you to resolve at that level,
Right.
and we'll send, it's just another button, we'll send them out to everyone you want us to send them out to, so. I think they were more concerned about what the report had within it, and they need to correct some items, and if not, I will make sure they're in front of this board.
Yeah,
And I
think,
hope they don't have to get to that
you
point.
know, if they have other higher managers, they should put it on the form.
Yeah.
Let them
That's a
know
good
that they
point,
should
too.
list it there so that you're aware
When
of it.
Tom's doing a report, they could just easily say, send it also to my district manager. You know,
Yeah.
we don't have a problem with
Sure.
that. It's easy.
Right.
It's another half a second, really, boom,
Mhm,
boom.
mhm.
You know, so I think, speaking to the district manager, I think he just didn't understand the internal situation was really on his behalf, not ours. And that it was repetitive, and his manager should have told him that. And repetitive is a reason to bring an applicant into us if it continues, but I think it's all resolved.
Fine.
All right, everybody else set? So we have two sets of minutes, September 17th and October 1st, obviously 2019.
I vote to accept the minutes of September 17th, 2019.
I second that.
All in favor?
aye.
I'm gonna abstain, so I'm here.
I move that we accept the minutes of the meeting as presented for the October 1st, 2019.
Is there a second?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm gonna abstain again, sorry. Okay, so future,
When's our next
so
meeting?
what are we-
November 19th.
November 19th.
So we're not meeting the 29th.
No,
I
This
can't
this is one
meet-
of those six,
yeah.
5-week months.
I can't meet November 5th, but feel free to, and I can leave your notes if you want.
We were just gonna go to the 19th and skip.
Okay.
I thought 5th was an election or something, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Not here, not here. You can
Oh.
have meetings. I called Tara,
Oh.
and she
okay.
said you can have meetings here if you wish.
Well, I mean, unless we need to have a meeting, we could go to the 19th, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, if there's a serious matter, I'll ask the board, I'll ask Diane if she'll consider a meeting, and if so, I'll
Yeah,
give you my
that's
notes. Say
par
if
for the
there's something
course.
serious going on, I hope not, but
So,
19th.
we'll do the tobacco,
Yeah.
the form, the cremation form, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
When is the town meeting, though? Is there a town meeting or no?
Oh, when is that?
23rd?
No, it's,
Oh, I think I
November
have
20th, right?
November 20th, I think it is.
I believe it's November 20th.
Oh, I have it on my thing.
Unless you wanna meet the week before.
Is it a Wednesday?
I'm coming back from
That's okay,
vacation
that's
that
cool,
day.
that's cool.
Yeah.
But it gets crazy at this time of year. Yeah, town meeting is the 20th.
Well, we're,
20th, okay.
well, we're talking about just meeting dates too. If we meet the 19th, we're gonna try to do one meeting in December, and could we look at that date, and just, because I know everybody's schedule's gonna get busy?
24th won't work for me.
Yeah, I think I'm busy.
Just teasing.
We can meet.
Well, I mean,
Should we split it and just do the 10th instead of the 1st and the 3rd? We'll do the 10th? Is that, what's your thoughts?
Fine for
KJ's
me.
like, I'm okay with any.
I'm no problem, I'm fine.
I'd be okay with that. My only thought is that the 3rd is already a scheduled meeting, and we kind of, just the public recognizes us on the 1st and 3rd.
Okay.
So my thought is just leave it at the 3rd. And again, it's one of those situations, if an emergency comes up, we're gonna meet no matter what. If it requires us to meet,
Okay, so we'll just leave it as
But
the
I
3rd,
kinda-
and if we need to meet the
I kinda
17th, we'll
like
talk
that.
about it the 3rd?
yeah.
Okay, I'm good with
I
that.
think that makes sense.
I'm good with
I
that.
will
know.
not be present on the 3rd of December,
Okay,
just telling you.
okay. I just want to make sure, just to wrap up, so we have the tobacco regs, the burial form,
Yep, Cremation.
cremation form. Is that the only other thing we talked about? And I mean, just for discuss, just a quick discussion, maybe, I'm wondering if we should have,
Excuse me.
like even an old new business, like, because we want to leave, we
think
want to
we-
leave the air quality for Warren School, the Triple E. I mean, just thinking we might want to have like an old new,
Yep.
and just list those, and they might be just
Yeah,
quick overs
yeah,
instead of
in
putting
case,
them on
in
in
case
place
there's
of
an
put them on, I
update.
mean, I put it just because Judy
Yeah.
mentioned it.
When is the food permit forms are being mailed?
She was just, go ahead, Laura, you were
I
just
was
telling me
just
that.
saying, I was updating them today. They'll probably be going out early November.
Okay.
And so December is when we have to,
Yeah,
December is approved.
Yeah, that's a good
We-
idea.
and then the
We
grease
moved the
traps,
list,
we have
right?
it.
We just
yeah.
moved
We
the
already
list.
have that form on the web, right?
The form for.
The updated form is already there on the web.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Combined.
permit.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn?
I
Second that.
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's W.